Hello? Beep boop.
Oh, it sounds like they did it.
They did it.
Charlie being the person
Oh.
we're talking about.
Hello?
Oh wait, our past bones got my back. Okay, we're good.
Amazing.
Gotta love it when past
past
bones got my back.
Got your
Hello,
back.
I'm back. Back again. Guess who's back? Bones is back. That's who. I'm stalling because past bones had my back there and I unmuted instead of
Oh.
muting.
Always listen to past bones.
Oh man, I forgot. There's a Etsy code and freaking 15% off for you stream watchers.
Heck yeah. So get your books.
Yeah. Anyways, hello. I have returned from the hospital.
He is here.
I am beautiful and strong and way too much. I am on new meds and I'm settling in. I'm settling into these new meds.
He's been very intense.
Yes.
Boy.
Yes, that's what we can describe me as
Getting things
intense. Call me a camp out.
Camp out McKay.
Camp out McKay. Oh my goodness. Can't get me out of these tents.
I did not cut my hair. I just straightened it. But now I really want to get that wolf cut because my bangs are long enough.
Yeah. That's true. You can wolf cut it up.
And turn into a werewolf over here.
So Ursula's coloring the
24 hours.
24 hour stream comic. I'm also really tired because my new meds have given me the ability to put 1 month of work into a single day. And my day doesn't end till 4 a.m., but it starts at 9. Yeah. It's just because it's like it's got to even out. Like
Yeah.
they're new-ish meds. I was off my meds for a bit, and now I'm back on them, and I'm moving faster than time can allow. Sorry, I didn't say hello to everyone because I was so busy. But hello, Bloop, Pastel Purple, Jonas Williams, Sewing Artist, Refrigerated Cartoons, Victoria Gomez, Tara B. Hello. I've missed the last few streams, said Ursula. Okay, I'm here. Please read my last comment. I want to be a comic creator, but I'm a decent drawer, but I have a problem writing, comparing scripts, and making likable character designs. Oh, designs. We have a lot on character design.
We do.
I watch you videos and need a bit more help. I found this stream would be the perfect chance. It might be. Just give me a bit here. Oh my gosh. Oof. Yeah,
Okay,
I've
boss.
been. Hello to everyone saying hi to me.
Oh my god. Is he okay?
I got diagnosed with ADHD over the weekend. It's official.
It's official.
We all knew it.
Who is surprised?
We all knew it. I officially have a stutter and ADHD. No one is shocked except me, who thought I was faking all of it for attention.
Surprise Pikachu bombs.
Yeah.
What am I looking for? Select.
And I got Ursula to sign up to see a
Ooh.
psychiatrist.
I
Welcome to the
know.
club, Bones. Haha, I'm shocked. We knew. We all knew.
But what if I had ADHD?
We
Well.
all knew. No one is shocked, dude. Literally me, if I ever do get any diagnosis. Yeah, well, ADHD was kind of causing some troubles for me, so we're gonna work on it and get medical help. Because you can do all of the self-help, but I'm not a psychiatrist. My ADHD would be like, I'll become a psychiatrist and that'll solve my problems, as opposed to talk to a psychiatrist on the phone for 5 seconds. Yeah. ADHD, buddy. We all have ADHD. That's why we make comics.
Exactly.
Because we creative. And we are stupidly ambitious.
Okay.
You gotta have something wrong with you to be a webcomic artist.
It's true.
Why are you doing
Fundamentally.
shading and stuff?
As I wanted to.
Okay, fine, whatever. But it seems overly ambitious. But I won't judge. You're gonna.
Oh, you're right. It was supposed to be just flat colors.
Yeah, it's supposed to be just flat colors. Because you want it done.
Okay.
It's just a short little comic. I started new meds today after a million years. Well, I'm proud of you. Switching meds is hard.
It do be.
Yeah, I started. I'm probably gonna look into meds. I need to talk to my doctor. Oh my god, the psychiatrist was such a mean person.
Such a
This
rude guy.
he was so mean. He made me cry. Not in front of him though, because I'm not a baby anymore. I'll stubbornly not cry now and be like, you don't deserve my tears.
Oh no.
Oh my god. There's something wrong with me. Oh. I was like, where's the music coming from? That's how I'm. Oh my god, I don't know. I'm like so tired.
Aw, my poor guy.
I think we're all overly ambitious to some degree. Then reality slaps us in the face.
It really does.
Poor Bones. Yeah, he was a meanie pants. And the first
The first nerd.
the first nurse that took my blood didn't do pressure afterwards, so I got a giant bruise.
They're just cruel.
Oh my god. Got a giant bruise in my inner arm.
New hospital be rude.
Yeah, how dare they hurt Bones?
Right?
Well, he was making, I don't know, he was acting like some sort of wise sage, you know, teaching you lessons, the hard lessons of life, trying to push you to succeed or whatever. But he was just a jerk. I didn't get the good ending, I'm fuming. You don't deserve the good ending. You're not a real gamer.
Fake gamer over here.
We all start like, yes, prepare for my 1,200 page color. I'm fully shaded. Stop talking about 9 point like this.
Did we do not see it?
Your new medical team might have a personal vendetta. Well, they're not my team anymore. It felt less like a team and more like a bunch of random people. Like, they were not working together. The last time I had a medical team like that, it felt like a well-oiled machine. This time it was like one dude. Bunch of Randys. Got anxiety meds, and the psych was like, your grandma isn't gonna live forever. You need a job. These meds are just the first step. Thanks. Oh my god, that's what psychiatrists are like.
That's horrible.
They're so mean. And
heck?
they have no time for you, which is not their fault entirely. Like, on some level, I understand what it must likely like to be like a psychiatrist.
Yes.
But like, dude, you're talking about humans. That's what I was talking about with my therapist, where I was like, he brought this up, but I had thought it because he keeps finding thoughts in my brain.
He's a mind reader.
He reads my mind.
He's psychic. He said
Because,
I sound
like,
nice.
Yeah, he did say you sound nice. um, he, well, I was saying like, you want to be treated human by your doctor, and not like meat,
Yes.
not just like a brain that needs tweaking. Like, you want to be treated like a human. And actually, I was talking to Ursula. I was like, oh my god, you missed the ending to this too. But I was talking to Ursula, and I was saying, if you want like any doctor to be, to treat you like a human, if you can only have two doctors that'll treat you like a human, you want it to be your psychiatrist and your gynecologist.
Yes.
Because like those are the ones where you need like extreme amounts of like care for people's emotions,
Yes.
you know. And then I went on to say that, you know what, I wouldn't mind like a surgeon to be a psychopath, right? Like a sociopath, like to not have empathy and just to be able to make like sound decisions based on like what makes sense and not really care about the emotions of it all. And guess what? Surgeons are in the top 10 careers most likely to be psychopaths. Up there with CEOs.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Therapists are on the least likely list,
Oh.
as are nurses and doctors, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. God. Gynecologist when you're ace, bruh. Yeah, if you're ace or like any, it's hard, but like if you have anything like that, you can look into trauma-informed like gynecologists, or talk to your family doctor if they can find you one. Like if you're booked in for like a PAP or something. If you're ace and it sounds like it would really traumatize you to get like a PAP, it's not worth doing it if you've never had any sort of contact.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Just be informed.
Yeah. Cuz I mean, I'm obviously not a doctor, but that's what my doctor told me.
Yeah.
Never mind, surgeons are scary.
I mean, my surgeon.
Surgeons
was
are lovely,
cool.
but they, as far as doctors go, and like, I think this makes sense from what I've had interacting with all my different doctors. Surgeons are very talented, but they are not great at communicating, like, in a very empathetic way.
Yeah. The thing is, like, when I had my surgery, it was a really minor surgery, so it's probably different for the bigger ones because you talk to your surgeon more.
Yeah, well, I
But-
talked to my surgeon more, and he was nice, but
yeah. it was
okay,
cool.
cosmetics. Okay, sorry.
But with mine, I talked to him for like 5 minutes overall, and I was mostly talking to the nursing team.
Yeah, same. Honestly, you
Yeah.
talk a lot with the nurses.
Yeah.
Almost all my friends are nurses, and they're the emotional part of the hospital experience. Yeah, family doctors or your general practitioners, like, they tend to be very empathetic, or at least you want one to
Yeah.
be.
You-
Because a lot of what a family doctor does is about getting to know you and knowing like your health and getting information from you to help navigate you in like the right directions and whatnot, because you want to have a good and open relationship with your family doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you also want that with your psychiatrist, but I have yet to meet one. Because they're all overworked here.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all have like 12-month waiting lists. It's like you're not going to be seeing them frequently. Imagine healthcare. I'm sorry.
Aw.
Yeah, sorry to all y'all Americans. Oh, God. True. But yeah, sorry, I completely got derailed. I was talking about my psychiatrist. The when I was hospitalized in November, I liked my psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like the first one I talked to, but I liked my psychiatrist, and I definitely got the sense that he cared about my well-being and safety. How did you go about getting a diagnosis if you're not uncomfortable with that? I was my therapist had me hospitalized, basically.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Oh, and I was there. I told it's becoming more and more true that my one cool trick that doctors hate is to get yourself in freaking imminent danger. So and then they have to treat you. How I cut in line at the psychiatry.
I
Got hospitalized. Got it. Yeah.
probably the more typical way that I'm doing is
I'm
went to my...
also going to talk. I am scheduled to see a specialist that assesses adult ADHD and ASD. And I'm going to be talking to them in August because it's nice to get a second opinion, especially considering my my psychiatrist was an ass. But Ursula's also doing that too.
Yeah, and I just went to my GP and was like, "Hey, I think I have this. Can I get diagnosed?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he sent you to someone who would cost you $3,000, and you were like, no.
No. No thanks.
My last psychs I saw was like everyone has ADHD instead of testing me. That's great.
Oh, thanks.
Like, the thing with my psychiatrist that I talked to is he seemed knowledgeable. I'd say that he probably has knowledge on things, but I don't know, he just wasn't great. He was mean and like very... There's just a way he went about things, because I need to be approached very calm and gently. I make a lot more progress that way. Talks no substance and also mean, yeah. Is it easy to become a psychologist? Half the ones I hear from other people are dismissive or rude. It's hard to become a psychologist or a psychiatrist. The problem I think most people have is that, this is my guess, but psychiatrists are like super like overworked because there's not enough of them. So they don't have the time to really work with you one-on-one. At least that seems to be what the case is in Canada. And if you get into like private healthcare, you might probably... I'd imagine you'd find a lot nicer ones. Because I'll be real, like, my surgeon was really nice, but he was also in technically private healthcare, right? Because he was a cosmetic surgeon. So... oh my god, his office was so immaculate. It was also weird because he was selling creams and stuff. But like, yeah, he had a very immaculate office. He was very nice. And I don't know, he tried to sell it more, you know?
Yeah.
It was funded through like my healthcare because I went to a cosmetic surgeon for like top surgery, right? But he would also do like booby surgeries for people who I don't know, different boobies. No judge. What comic you working on, Ursula? She's working on the 24-hour comic.
Yes.
She's coloring it in so that we can release it. Did you save the original pages?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
No problem.
How many boob do they offer? Plastic surgery? Yeah. Cosmetic surgery has such a bad rap, but like, and I understand like on some level, but like some of it be really. Isn't most of it just based in misogyny? Like most
That's
things.
what I was gonna say. I was like, I feel like it's used to make women feel bad.
Yeah. Well, everyone wants them. They want you to look like you have plastic surgery, but not have had it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's basically it. There's really strict like beauty standards, and then when you go to a surgeon to get like up to those standards, then you get stigmatized for being fake.
Any advice on asking your parents for a therapist? It really depends on how on board your parents would be. What I did when I was a teenager, and I was like 16. Yeah, like 16. I wanted a therapist, so I went to my doctor. I guess it changes if you're in America because you have to pay for that or something. But like I had to go to the doctor anyways, and I talked about like how I was feeling, and they recommended a counselor, and then my like parents listened to that. But you can also there might be like you it really depends because like depending on your age you probably don't even have to tell your parents about counselors sometimes if you can find like free ones in your area. That's where I started as a teen.
Yeah.
There was just sliding scale. If your family's low income, regardless of if they'd like let you or not, a sliding scale can usually work. That'd be like a keyword to search or to ask for at therapists. Be like, do you offer like sliding scale or blah blah blah.
You can always look for like walk-in places.
Yeah. There tends to be like community like walk in and drop in.
Yeah.
It really depends on like where you live, obviously.
Totally.
But I guess you start by asking your parents, and then you can go the other routes. Yeah. Gender therapist? I don't know. I tried so hard to get a gender therapist. It wasn't even... To get a therapist, have a paralyzing panic attack at 10, and they'll never leave you alone. Joke's on you. Ursula didn't get a therapist until now.
Yeah. I had plenty of panic attacks in high school. I guess I tended to have them in private though, so I don't know.
Ah, yeah, it's true.
I did. There's that meme that's like, wow, you're really considerate. And the response is like,
I just started gender therapy and I'm really happy. I'm
oh,
glad. I'm glad you got
congrats.
therapy. Got you a gender therapy. 10 out of 10. My problem was I kept looking for a gender therapist because I just wanted hormones. Like I literally knew it would solve my life and no one would get me them, and it was so frustrating.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it can be a cool form of expression, and I love it on others. If they want to put on makeup, I just don't like it for myself. Makeup?
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
valid.
I want Gengar therapy. Literally me, right? Oh god. First thing I said to her is I wanted hormones.
Gib.
Oh my god. I went on informed consent on hormones
Mm-hmm.
in my 20s. I'd wanted them for years.
Yeah.
I keep telling people I want to be a hobbit and or dog, and they won't get the hint and put me on tea. I'm a minor. Yeah. Wow, that literally me. Hmm. All my aspirations are hairy dudes. Same. I forget which one of you called me transition goals, and oh my goodness. That's weird. Y'all gonna be gumdrops that got dropped on the floor.
Beauty. Listen.
I'm a minor Minecrafter, that is. Did OBS crash?
Did it? Yes, it did. Oh, are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
Hey, hello.
Am I you? I am you. And figuratively and literally bones. We're all bones on the inside.
Yes.
I found me in Ursula's Minecraft world. They loaded up.
I forgot we built this massive.
We built? I
Sorry,
built it
you
for
built
you
it.
as a present.
You built it. For
I
me.
built her a giant Zoltar out of wool.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I presented it to her on her birthday.
Yes. Such a good birthday.
I used to do things for you.
I know.
I bought you things on Amazon.
Jeffrey Bezos.
Jeffrey Bezos.
No, you still do sweet things for me.
Yeah.
I still remember one of my favorite gifts that I ever got was when I had no money. You went and bought me just like a bunch of snacks.
Yeah.
It was so sweet.
Because your brother kept eating them all on you.
Yeah, steal my food.
Amazon. How many wool blocks are we talking here? I don't know, a couple hundred. Jeffrey Bezos quit on my birthday. It was a great gift. Is it really? Because he's still making money.
Yeah.
Mm. Didn't his wife like she has like his ex-wife have like shares in the company, and she immediately donated like half of it, and then she doubled her earning. Like she literally can't donate it fast enough.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's messed.
That is.
That's not cool.
It's not kosher.
God, CBT doesn't work because the world actually sucks if you think about it.
Don't think about it.
Okay.
It's just-
I'm reading this and it's saying that people with ADHD tend to be perpetual pessimists.
I am an optimist.
I mean, you don't have to tick every box.
It didn't need time and space. Oh.
I don't have this thrill-seeking aspect.
No.
Here. This is what I'm... So the first...
G-Jeffs are the true Jeffs. The G-offs.
It starts by saying different doesn't mean defective, but like it goes on to like describe how defective I am.
Oh.
There's the wandering mind. How like that's a thing. One channel operational system. That's like when you basically can focus on one thing and it's really hard to change between channels.
Yes.
Is what it was explaining it like the neurotypical brain can be like have one channel can be looking at the food channel, making dinner, and then casually check in on the children channel, and then go back to the food channel. But like the ADHD brain either has all the channels turned on or one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen.
What if Jeffrey Bezos lived in an Amazon box the whole time? With all the stupids here, Amazon started destroying products they did not sell. Why not just donate it? Amazon's upping prices
Mm-hmm.
because as they form monopolies, they then up the prices.
Exactly.
They smother the competition.
Yep.
Locking in and blocking out phenomenon. Oh. Erratic focus. Over persistence. That's the one. That
For persistence.
over persistence. Seems at odd at with an unfiltered sensory world rushing into their brain, they have to develop some rather powerful defenses to survive. Over persistence may be one of them. An ADHD adult may deliberately use locking in ability to shut out the rest of the world, can insulate them from the wear and tear of handling the flood of incoming information. A one-channel ADHDer may use over persistence as a compensatory tool in society that values the ability to bounce many balls at one time. What was it? Oh yeah, obsessive thought patterns and excessive rumination.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Don't talk about me like this.
Oh my god. Oh, this. The inner experience is of having thoughts seemingly captured on a short loop of a tape recording, one that plays itself over and over and over on a recorder that has no stop function. And literally, doesn't that just describe it, all of you? Because we all have this disorder.
We all have ADHD.
Okay, you know what also part of it is? You're all watching a live stream and no functioning neurotypical person.
We were talking. You're like, no neurotypical person can
What?
watch something for 5 hours straight.
Matt, we appreciate your tips, and they're 100% correct. But Ursula is not neurotypical, so she's not gonna do something that makes her life easier.
But I like the texture on it.
That
I'm
too,
using
yeah.
a brush that has a bit of a grain to it, so I want to keep that. But I
Yeah.
do understand that, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to Matt, everyone. Don't listen to me.
No, I get it, because you're doing some sort of like lines that fall out of it because it's kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
exactly.
you.
You get me. And there's some parts of the fill that are like have a bit of texture to them. I just think it's neat.
I use live streams as body doubles. That's true. I hate the details. The don't do it, don't do today what you can put off till tomorrow. This one was the one you were talking about, a defective filter,
A defective filter.
where it's hard to filter information, where you just see the entire thing. It's
Oh,
also
yeah.
you, honestly. Like, distracted by background noise and stuff. This feels like us when it's dinner time. The process of scanning the contents of a large department store can be agonizing. The quantity of choices is overwhelming and often creates feelings of intense anxiety or irritation. Tag yourself, I'm irritation.
Guess which one I am.
What's my ADHD Sona? Emotional roller coasters. I was like, I'm not an emotional roller coaster, and then I realized I am, because that literally describes the thing where I can be super mad for like
Oh my god.
suddenly,
yes.
and then I'm fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just expect you to be furious for like hours, and you're like, it's 5 seconds.
Yeah. That's because I was like, we do know that ADHD Sonas often say they live emotional roller coasters. Feeling states fluctuate with extreme alterations. Wait, that's not what I wanted to read at all. The process of making fine adjustments of the nervous system or whatever. This process seems to be dysregulated. Damn it, I don't know where it is. I can't find the information. But it brought up like when you do something that aggravates neurotypical people and they hold on to this anger for like a while, and you're like already done with whatever you were doing that was aggravating because you were like super irritated and you threw a plate or something, and they're mad forever, and you're like, oh, I'm good, I'm over it.
Oh my god, that's you!
Bones McKay, Cedar Point's newest coaster. What?
Because you're a roller coaster.
Hope you all find the pronouns that make your brain go burr.
Yeah.
Seeing people draw and procreate is satisfying. It really is.
Doobie.
Doobies.
Shadoobie. Oh, you know what I need to do that would really help with flat coloring? Is I need to get that frickin' Photoshop plugin that will fill all your line art with flat colors. But
Oh
the
my
problem
god,
is,
it's me.
But the problem is, you have to close all your lines, and I could never. Why'd your burnouts?
The intense intensity part I get too.
Intense intensity?
Yeah. Low moods feel like the end of the world. Many of us have passionate natures, artistic temperaments, and react quickly to an extreme. Our tendency to boast and exaggerate may result from experiencing the world so intensely. I just feel like because like the going back to what I wanted to say at the beginning, oh my god. Like the psychiatrist said he wanted me to ask him 3 questions because he wanted me to like build up my confidence in a safe space. Like, okay. And ask questions that are on my mind instead of letting like ADHD go wild and not let me say anything because it's too overwhelmed. And he was like, ask 3 questions, and I thought, and all of the questions I could have asked were stupid. And like he said, there's no such thing as a stupid question. And I asked him like, okay, what's gonna are the nurses gonna do like X, Y, and Z? And he's like, that's a good question, but like ask a question for me. I'm like, I don't know. And then he said, I don't know is always a stupid thing to say. And it just broke my world. And I was like, well, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You're mean.
That is really
It's
mean.
mean. It was a mean thing to
You
say.
can't say something like "there's no stupid question" and then be like, "What you said is stupid."
The only
Like,
stupid thing to say is I don't know.
It's
and
like, well, I guess I'm
sometimes I just
stupid.
don't know. Because, like, I couldn't think of any question I wanted to ask. I don't really care about medications. I'm going to talk to another psychiatrist, not you. Because I'm not jamming with you. Yeah, he was meanie. They also wanted me to get a new therapist and start doing, like, CBT and DBT. And no. I like my therapist. And I told my therapist about how they wanted me to get a new one, and he seemed very, like, confused. It was such a, like, my therapist's reaction to that was such a, like, you know, like, when you're talking to your friend and you're trying to be really supportive and stuff, and then they bring something up about you, and you're like, I really want to talk. I'm super curious, but we can't talk about that because this isn't about me. Like that energy where they're like, oh, okay. Like they say something about you, and you're like, well, I'm really interested, but I know this isn't the time. It was that voice.
That energy.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I'm curious as to why that would be. Like, do you have any like idea like why what was going on? And I was talking about I mentioned how it seemed like they wanted me to like maybe have a closer therapist, or like I know they really wanted me to do like a different approach or something. And then my therapist was like, did they mention like DBT or like, and then I was like CBT, and then he was like can I rant?
May I? Bless.
And I was like, yeah, okay.
Go off.
Yeah, sure, okay. And he did a rant on CBT, and it's literally like a rant like I had with Ursula. I think he even like brought up like the exact same thing I did with Ursula. But like CBT is super helpful, and if you've never gone to therapy before, like CBT is like a really good start.
For sure.
CBT is also something you can do really easily on your own if you're like a self-starter and like to read. And
Yes. It's very accessible.
and yeah, it's super accessible. Just read a couple Brené Brown books. Do a CBT workbook. Like it's super helpful.
Oh yeah.
Um
You
but it's
learn-
not very personalized at all.
No.
There's like great therapists who do CBT, but like the core of it is kind of it's about like reshaping your thought patterns. So it's very it's like a lot of workbooks and homework, and it's not very personalized, and it's scientifically proven to like get really good results. Yeah, it gets really good results. Insurance companies love it because you can be like, okay, 12 weeks of CBT, and that has a huge impact on all sorts of people. Yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy. Yeah. It's helpful. Like if you don't know about cognitive distortions and you haven't trained yourself to catch them, like CBT is probably a really good place for you to start and learn, because I mean, we could go into cognitive distortions, like that
Yeah.
might be
Would people be interested in talking about that?
we always talk about this stuff because I'm brain. But either way, before I go off and talk to you about cognitive distortions, I'll finish my thought. But right, like insurance companies really like it, so it's got a lot of funding, and it's a lot less personalized, so it's very easy to like study. Whereas lots of like long-term sort of like talk therapy. It's super different for like all people, right? Yeah. And the main point that my therapist brought up was that when therapists are seeking therapy, they usually aren't seeking CBT. Because, yeah. Yeah, and the energy of CBT, it's not like it's ABA, which is like yikesy and terrible or whatever. Like CBT is it is good. It's just not like a one size fits all kind of dealio. It kind of like just reminds me of capitalism. Like, I feel like a lot of my problems with it are capitalist problems in nature, where it seems to make you into a functional, working, productive human, but doesn't address lots of like your deep-seated feelings. And because like in my experience with CBT, it's a lot of like, don't think about the past so much. And I'm like, okay, I'll try not to do that, but it's still there. It's still very painful. Yeah, I'm at a point of needing CBT because of how awful my agoraphobia has gotten. Even my therapist, so talk therapy and can't really do anything anymore. Yeah, no, like CBT is helpful, but it's over prescribed almost, and it's like the only. Yeah, like all of like the therapy. I think DBT is very helpful. Yeah. DBT is really helpful. It's also kind of similar where it's a lot of workbooks and stuff, but DBT is basically first aid for your brain. Like for your emotions. It's like emotional first aid for yourself. It's how it gets you to be able to tolerate distressing situations. Like distress tolerance, baby. It's all about safety plans and all that stuff and dealing with like really hot emotions. Yeah. And CBT is about like your thinking patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But what are them? What are the cognitive distortions?
Yeah, so these are ways that like your thoughts
I'm back, don't worry guys. Oh, thank God. I was worried.
Phew.
I said I'd talk about comics, but let's be real. I didn't even talk about animal facts.
You talk about, I mean, humans are animals.
It's true.
There are human facts.
Yeah, like so what you do is you write down what you're thinking at different points in time, like when you're anxious. Like, what's an anxiety thought, Ursula?
I turned in this assignment late, so I'm gonna get fired from work.
Yeah, I'm gonna get fired because I turned in my assignment late. That is full of cognitive distortions, which really affect your perception of the world, and it affects like your behavior. Because if you think the world is scary, you're gonna behave in a way that like reflects that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So learning to look at your thoughts and piece out like what cognitive distortions are at play will help you change your thoughts in the future. And it really does work. At least it's worked for me. Is I used to have a lot of constant cognitively distorted thoughts, and now I very automatically will have a thought that isn't like rational, and I can look at it and be like, okay, the world isn't over, like, because I didn't do this. The world is over because of climate change. See, that's how it doesn't help for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just like, well, I but actually all the time, and it's terrible. My problem is like I get into these fights where I'm like, yeah, but I remember we had a fight like that, and I think this is just the limits of CBT, where it's just like,
I sure
what
can
if
color with
what if
purple.
your anxiety thought is correct? Like, I don't know what to do when the thing I'm afraid of is true. Like, that's where I always ended up at the end. Where it's like, yeah. Oh my god. Okay, so let's get into the cognitive distortions.
Yes.
So yeah, like Charles was saying, there's polarized thinking. So that's like all or nothing thinking.
Yes.
That's thinking things in black and white. What are examples of like polarized thinking? It's like
It would be like, my. I guess it could be like,
it's like one example would be like seeing people as perfect, like other people are perfect, or like other people are just completely evil. You could be like completely awful.
yeah,
Like I think a lot of the cognitive distortions like tie into each other,
yeah.
but like the black and white thinking is just like there's no shades of gray to anything in your thoughts. It's like,
My friend snapped at me, so she hates me.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's
instead
like
of-
all or nothing.
Yeah. When in reality, it could be she snapped at you because she's having a really like bad day, and she's gonna come back and apologize in an hour, or
Yeah. It's either great or it sucks. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no in between.
Yeah.
I have to clean my room today or don't bother. My art is
Yes.
terrible. I have no good aspects to consider. A movie is perfect or terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one distortion.
The other one is overgeneralization. Overgeneralization is kind of like what Charlie is saying about like the art, where it's just like you could be like, my art is terrible. Like you draw one thing that's not your best, and you're like all my art is terrible. I'm terrible as an artist. I'm never gonna make it in the world. Like you take one fact and you extrapolate like to the extreme and just continue with it.
Totally.
And just or like one bad thing happens and you're like it starts to rain a little bit and you're like, well, it's going to be a thunderstorm now and my day is ruined.
Yes.
Or someone says something not the nicest to you and you're like, they hate me, it's over, I can never make friends.
Yes. Exactly. Or one would be like saying something like, everyone hates me. Like, oh
Mhm.
no, my thing went away. Like you're having a fight with a friend and you say, everyone hates me. It's like, no, you're having one fight with one friend and they probably don't hate you.
Yeah, that's more close to overgeneralization.
Yeah. Here, I'll put
You have to train yourself to slow down and think through it realistically. Yeah. I think the best way to start, and usually is what you start in therapy, is writing down your thoughts. Like, just every time you have a thought, just write it down and don't be judgmental about it at first. Like, just start, like, logging, like, throughout the day, like things you think.
There's like a concept with CBT of automatic thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So we have lots of little thoughts in our head that we might not even be conscious that we're making.
Yeah.
Like you could walk into work every day and think like or school and be like, I'm so awkward, nobody likes me, um I'm so or I don't know. you know, all these like, and some automatic thoughts can be good, some of them can be bad. Obviously with CBT you're focusing on the ones that like are distressing and hurtful to you. Um but yeah, you start by writing it down and just seeing like recognizing when you're having these thoughts come up.
Yeah, that's like the first bit of it. And then once you do recognize the thoughts, then you start categorize them like this, where you like, okay, this is overgeneralization, this is polarized thinking, and you point out the distortions. And then from there, you then say what the truth is. You're like, this is overgeneralization. So you'd be like, my art is terrible. Yeah, just all of my art is terrible would be a thought, and you would be like, that's an overgeneralization. I didn't do my best on this one piece, but I'm not a terrible artist.
Yep.
Like that's what that's what you then say.
Yeah. You have to reframe it into the goal is to like you'll take a negative thought and reframe it into a positive thing, and then see how like true that feels to you. And at first it probably won't feel true. You'll be like, well, I'm lying to myself or whatever. But you slowly work on making it feel more true, or you'll change the thought. If you say like my art is terrible, and you try to reframe it into something positive, and you say like, oh, my art is wonderful, and you're like, well, that doesn't feel true. So you might go to something that's a bit easier, that would be like, my art's okay, for example. And then you work your way up.
I feel something similar is thinking you hate everyone and then hate yourself for hating everyone. It's one of my least favorite experiences. Yeah. Because
Yes.
that would be like a thought you have. You're like, I hate everyone. And you're like, I mean, at the core of that is like fear or something. Like, why? Like, I don't know. It's very, like you do all that CBT stuff and you only go so far. It's very helpful, but
Yeah.
it has its limits, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's just like over prescribed for everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
For real.
Because it can be helpful, but sometimes you have things like PTSD, and no matter how rational you are, you can't just think your way out of it.
Yeah.
Catastrophizing is the next one. That's the
That's the one I do.
That's the Ursula
That's
Gray
the one.
one.
I turned in this project late, so I'm gonna be fired. Like, you go to the worst possible
Outcome.
outcome.
Yeah.
And then you sit down, when you reframe it, you're like, my boss may get mad at me. Like,
I brought chocolate instead of vanilla cupcakes. My friends are all gonna quit being my friends. I'm gonna be alone forever. No one will ever want to work with me.
Oh, this is all things I tell myself, but it's terrible.
The hardest distortion for me is being unable to see my good qualities. I'd have to hand out a survey. Well, that seems like a good thing to work on then. That seems like a place for affirmations.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Personalization.
What's that one?
Oh, that's like feeling. That's when you take things personally that
Oh,
aren't necessarily personal.
oh,
Like,
okay.
your friends all go out to dinner and you're not invited, so you're like, they hate me. Like, they all conspired together to go out without me, but what actually happened was they just all bumped into each other when they were out doing their own things. Like, you think of other possibilities instead of going to the worst possible personal targeted attack.
Right.
Yeah. It's like you didn't get the assignment at work.
Yeah.
It's not because your boss is like personally targeting you. They just gave it to someone else. Like there's all sorts of reasons. It doesn't necessarily have to be about me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how pog is Charlie? 1.
Charlie's super pog.
I thought 1 was the poggest.
Oh.
Or is it? Let's just go an even 5.
5 pogs out of 10. No, they're like 10 pog.
Thanks for the advice. It really helped a lot, especially since I didn't even realize I had thoughts like this. Yeah, it's super helpful.
Super helpful to look into.
Like, CBT is like super duper helpful.
Yeah.
Like,
It helps
I
me
can-
a lot with anxiety.
yeah. I found it helped me a lot with self-esteem. It doesn't really help me a lot with my depression and probably my ADHD. I could have used this advice yesterday. It was my first day of college, and I was scared. I'm 16 in a room of adults. I was so scared I had to have my mom walk me to class. Oh,
Aw.
well, you were scared, but you were super brave.
You still went.
Yeah. 20 out of 10 pog, assuming 10 is the highest. Mind reading is the
Oh,
next
yeah,
one.
That's what I do
When when people assume they know what others are thinking. Yeah, that's where
Yes.
trying to find a good example.
Like you feel like you look ugly, so you walk into a room and you're like, you see someone looking at you and be like, I bet she thinks I'm ugly. Or like,
Yeah.
I bet she can tell how gross I am or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Everyone's thinking about X quality about me.
Yes.
The reality is, unless you're a YouTuber, no one is thinking of you. What was it? Okay. No one is thinking about you. And if they're pointing at you and laughing, 3 fingers are pointed back at them.
Mm.
Yeah. Basically it's like, who cares if if someone was saying something rude about you, just think about if someone was saying that to your friend, right?
Yeah.
If there's someone pointing at, sorry, if you think that someone thinks you're ugly, like, who cares what that person thinks, because they're stupid. And that's a rude thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the 2 ways you kind of go at that one.
Mhm.
Mental filtering is the next one.
Is that where you disregard something because it doesn't follow what you want or something?
Ignoring positive and focusing on negatives.
Yeah. So someone tells you, say you're feeling ugly example. Someone comes up and says like, "Oh, you look so lovely today," or whatever, and you go like, "Oh, they're lying.
Yeah.
They're just saying that to make me feel better." It's like, no, that's
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Then there's discounting the positive, and I'm not sure how that's different from mental filters.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's when things positive do happen to you, you overlook them.
Mm.
You see like when something positive does happen. So like the mental filtering is where you filter out every positive event and only think about the negative. So if you went on vacation and you had a pretty terrible time, you'd filter out all the good parts you had.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be like, my back hurt, I didn't get to do this thing, I had a bad time. Like, you'd ignore like the fun time you had roasting marshmallows and singing songs. You know, like you
Yeah.
filter all that positive out. Discounting the positive is when someone comes up to you and is like, "Wow, your art's amazing," and you're like, "No, it's not. Like, that's a fluke." Okay, like, yeah, you'd be like, "It's only good because of an accident."
Right.
Like I didn't intentionally make it good. Like, that's what it is.
Is filtering the or what was the first one? Filtering.
Yeah, there's filtering and discounting the positive.
Right. So the filtering one is when you read comments on your your YouTube channel and you only remember the mean ones.
Yes, that is
And you forget-
100% what
and
it
you
is.
forget the all the nice ones that you get.
Yes, and discounting the positive is when a positive thing occurs and you turn it into a negative.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's should statements.
Oh yeah.
This is like the easiest one to catch, honestly,
Yeah.
because it always has the word should in it. If you're ever thinking like I should do this, I should be better, I shouldn't be this bad at video games, like that's a distortion
Yeah.
because you're implying like worth
Yeah.
to very neutral statements.
Totally.
Yeah.
Everyone is good at art.
Yeah.
I should be good at art too.
Yeah.
Like,
And also constantly shoulding yourself.
yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
When you constantly should yourself, you make yourself feel inadequate, and you also cause yourself a lot of anxiety. Because if you walk into your room and you're like, oh, I should clean the floor, I should paint all the walls, I should, all of these things that you need to do, you're just creating anxiety. You're making a list of things that you are failing to do instead of being like, oh, I'd love to paint the walls at some point, or like, I could. It's easy to change them into like I could
Yeah.
to could statements. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, one of my coworkers, he always says, whenever he starts doing should statements, his friend goes, "Stop shooting all over my friend."
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
next one's emotional reasoning.
Oh, that's when I feel bad about this thing, which means it's bad.
Yes.
Like I feel bad about my art, which means it's bad.
Yeah. That's kind of like I don't know if this actually counts, but like having the mean psychiatrist like and ignoring any of like the like good stuff that occurred. Well, I guess that's mental filtering, but like ignoring any of the advice and stuff because
Mhm.
it's makes you feel bad.
Yeah, I'm upset,
Yeah.
so I can't deal with this right now.
I'm upset, so it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm upset. Meh.
Meh. Which, listen, I do this all the time.
This is the part I don't like things like emotional reasoning because like when you do them, I find this one's like particularly hard for me, I guess, where it's just like I feel like it means denying my emotions, even though like I know it doesn't. It's just like a lot of the times I'll feel something. Like, I'll feel sad about a situation, and I'll be like, I just want to be sad and have this negative thought. Like, I don't want to fix it right now. like,
yeah.
I'm like, I know it's a distortion. Just let me be sad. Let me feel my pain.
Definitely. I feel like someone could use it to, like,
Yeah.
be crappy to people, but
I think sometimes it's used like that, but not all.
no.
It's helpful still.
Yeah, I think generally it's a pretty helpful thing to understand.
Labeling is the last one. It's where you reduce things to a single label.
Wow.
Where you're like, me, I'm a failure.
Yes.
my sister, she's perfect. like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. Instead of being like, "There's
I should
nuance.
myself all the time. Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't should all over yourself."
You should stop shooting on yourself. That's what I hate. I hate that. I hate the never say never, and you should stop saying should. Reframe the situation. CBT. And then CBT will help you like get your stuff together with all that. I have like a giant workbook on DBT. Like that stuff's really cool. You've never done DBT, have you?
No. It sounds pretty pog.
It's helpful. I think CBT is very, very helpful for anxiety. Like looking at all that, it kept on saying like this is really helpful for anxiety. Yeah.
I should look at it.
Well,
My-
don't you already do CBT? Or you did it?
I thought you were talking about DBT.
No, CBT was really good for anxiety.
Oh,
DBT is good for Oh, is DBT is the main goal is to teach people how to live in the moment, to develop healthy ways to cope with stress and regulate emotions. Yeah. It's good for self-destructive behaviors.
Oh, I see.
So you binge, right?
Yeah.
So DBT is when you're feeling super heightened and the need to binge. It's to help you cope with that.
Oh, I should look into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done lots of CBT, and I'm currently doing EMDR,
Yes.
which is a way to process, I guess like distressing memories or something. It's a way to like process.
It's like processing trauma.
Yeah.
It's popular.
Interesting. Yeah.
You can't do it if you're disassociative.
No.
I'm a big old disassociating child.
Don't let him wander.
Yeah. Distress tolerance. Distraction, self-soothing. And DBT totally reminds me of like first aid because it has all these like mnemonic devices to help you remember it in times of stress.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But my ass can't remember. I can remember TIP. TIPP. Which is temperature, intense exercise, paced breathing, or something like that, and another one. But I remember it. It's the one where you're supposed to put cold water on your face.
Okay.
Yeah. You put cold water on your face, you do intense exercise, like a short, fast exercise. You do some paced breathing, and you do the thing where you tense up your body and let go.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's helped to like decrease like crisis state.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm surprised no one's called me out for using an effect.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, it's like a good place to use it, right?
That's true. That's true, because it would. I'm doing a little light effect.
It's magic.
I'm using a screen.
It's Majuk.
Screen. What do you call it? Filter. But normally, I would would try.
Over 50% of people experience at least one trauma in their lives. I want to be the other 50%.
Right? Who are these people with perfect lives?
Who are these people who haven't been traumatized?
What the heck?
Unlike Ursula, I don't bully for using layer styles.
Listen, I want you guys to learn how
Oh,
to
I
shade
figured
and
out who
highlight.
it is. It's the straights. it's the cishet and the whites and the
Neurotypicals.
neurotypicals. Yeah. It's true. Can you not and the men. Can you stop? Stop.
Lear, stop being a bad kitty.
You have to be all of those categories in order to not be traumatized.
Okay. I have to be a straight, white, neurotypical fella.
Fella.
Cis fella.
Yeah, cis fella. Don't forget that.
Cat.
Because meanwhile, we're sitting here with 75% of us, like, you know the statistic.
I am
Us
using
transes.
the Ink Bleed default brush in Procreate to do my line art.
Why are you harassing me during work hours?
Lear, he wants
He's
to
just
cuddle.
He just wants to cuddle.
Cuddle your boy.
You're thin. Is mommy not feeding you?
She feeds him. I give him hot dogs as a treat.
You want a hot dog? Is that
He
what
would
you're
love a
hearing?
hot dog.
You-
Matica's perked up. She's like, hot dogs?
She knows the word. What brush are you using for the line art?
I already said.
Oh.
Ink Bleed.
Need to be from a wealthy background. Yes.
Yes. Yes. I was shocked by how much asexual people experience trauma and discrimination.
Yeah.
I just assumed
Because
no one knew
every
about
time
us.
you talk about it, people are like, who cares? Which is super dismissive.
Super rude.
And even in some queer spaces, there's disrespect to asexual people.
Yes.
I'm gonna be real.
What?
I don't know. I was gonna be real, but I don't want to do any hot takes.
Okay.
I think sometimes. There we go.
Here comes the hot take.
I think sometimes people who are super sexually liberated forget the other side of like sex positivity, which is not thinking asexuals are freaks.
Yeah.
because everyone's cool with consent if they're sex positive.
Yeah.
Perfect. But they will then go on to be like, it's okay if you want to have sex, it's okay if you don't want to have sex. Great, all positive, all amazing. And then they'll meme and be like, asexuals, I'll never understand that, you know? Because, like, the problem with asexuality is people can understand, like, because it's a different spectrum than being, like, gay and right. Like, it's a different spectrum. Like, the asexual spectrum is completely different. And I think the problem is we always put it on the same spectrum as being gay, straight, bi, pan, whatever. Right? We put all sexuality on that spectrum. Where I think, like, the asexual aspect should be on its own spectrum
Yeah.
to help understand it more. Because I think if we talked about it in those ways, people would understand aces more. But the way that people tend to look at it is they're like, okay, we have our gays, we have our bis, and we have our straights, and then we have our asexuals, and they're weird. And the reason they're weird is asexuality doesn't belong on that spectrum.
True. Because I know in a lot of queer spaces they get angry when someone is like straight and asexual. It's like,
Yeah.
no, they belong in like the LGBT community because, you know, the allos still reject them.
I'm in the BDSM community and they get weird about ace people sometimes. Yeah, no, like that's kind of what I'm saying. Like there's a tendency to treat asexuals as like other and freaky and weird. And the thing is, it's just hypersexual people in general I like don't understand. I don't know. It's hard to explain, honestly. I feel like a part of it comes from rape culture, like, and not understanding like consent and all of the things that are around like sexuality. Like it all comes together to really other asexual people, because like, you know, like the way that we view sex and consent like really like colors even people who are like open and understand those concepts. Like you grow up in a world where where it's okay to like disrespect other people's bodies, right? And not think about consent. And you think like, I don't know, there's like a normalization of like a really aggressive form of like sexuality. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you mean. Cause I know, like,
Because I'm just thinking about like your kind of like experiences with guys, and even my experience as like a teenager and having like men show up and like want to take me to a bar. Like that was so freaking weird and uncomfortable.
oh yeah,
And I think having like that perception out in the world, like basically what I'm saying, I think I can summarize it, is even allosexual like women like aren't respected for not wanting it.
yeah,
Like, and they can't even, like, if you can't even get to the step where you understand that someone who likes sex sometimes doesn't want it all the time, like, I don't think you can possibly fathom that someone never wants sex with anyone.
yeah.
Like,
right.
it feels like some people like can't even make that one step.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I hope that makes sense. I've lost everyone.
yeah. Yeah.
Because yeah, it's hard enough being a lady in the workforce, dealing with harassment, and then to also be asexual
Yeah.
on
it get-
top of that.
yeah. I definitely I feel bad because I feel like I have a bias against hypersexual people, even though like we've had roommates who are hypersexual and are lovely. So
Well, yeah, because they respect asexual people
that's true.
and they
but I've-
respect consent. But there's a lot of like,
It's typically cis men, I'll be real.
yeah,
Cis straight men who have been very disrespectful of my sexuality, and they go the far opposite of like, well, no, they still go you're weird, but then they're like I can fix you, and you're like stay away.
yeah, it's really disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Because it's a really extreme version of something that's already super horrible, where you're pressuring someone.
yes.
And then you're pressuring someone who, on top of it, like their sexuality is no. Like,
Yeah.
it is like a unanimous, like, all the time no.
Mhm. Exactly.
So, yeah. And then forget it if you want to be respected as a demi.
Oh, for real. Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness.
My goodness.
It's
How did we get to this topic?
I don't
We
know.
were talking about distorted thinking.
And
and
then we were
CBT.
talking about how the asexual struggle is overlooked.
Oh, right, because we're talking about trauma.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you know what? I also need to mention like asexual men too that are seen as like completely broken because
Yes.
as a man you need to constantly be harassing women like in order to be a man. Okay, forget people not understanding sex versus asexuals. Imagine trying to explain full asexual aromantic spectrums, brain would implode. An asexual male. Yeah, like
Oh, for real. And I
it's
feel so terrible for like aromantic people because I feel like there's so much stigma against it.
yeah.
People,
I don't know tons about aromantic, but I hella respect it.
yeah.
I just want to say with the asexual man thing, like asexual women constantly harassed, tried to be fixed, blah blah blah. Asexual men, you are seen as not even a man, which is really harmful. Like it
Yeah.
because the male identity is so tied up in being a sex pest, like like it
It
is.
really is. It's
Like,
terrible.
It's horrible. And I actually wanted to talk about this because when I was at the hospital,
Yeah.
there was a lobby and we all watched Netflix in it. And sometimes I would pop in and I was watching The Ranch. And it is a show on Netflix. And I forgot what it's like to listen to TV made for cishets. Oh my God. Like, I didn't realize, like, I don't know why I didn't realize this. Probably because I'm blessed to see so much queer media. But, like, oh my God, I didn't know we still made jokes about like, oh, my son used shampoo. Guess he has a vagina now.
What?
Like, yeah.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if that specifically, but that was it. It was the one it's usually like, can I get you a tampon?
Oh, right.
Yeah, that.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's about a gruff ranch family, and one was in the city and has now moved back. And he cleans his hair and wore his mom's scarf.
Oh my god.
Oh my God! It was watching that show was like 100% just, are the straights okay? Like
Good lord.
it was like a hilarious scene about like making fun. Like he goes to like his mom
Yeah.
after his dad decided to go on the fishing trip without him. He goes to talk to his mom and asks and is complaining about what to do, and she's like, like we could go fishing together. And I was like, oh, this is cute or whatever. And then he agrees to go fishing with her, and then she makes fun of him by yelling to the bar, it's like, he's fishing with his mommy. I'm like, what?
What? I thought it was gonna be a nice lesson about like doesn't like just spending time with your family is important. And
Like,
people
why are you
can
making?
do whatever?
Oh my God! It was like it was. I was like, oh my God! Only even the women in this show have toxic masculinity. Like, it was wild.
Or
Oh my God!
men can't wash their hair, silly.
It's so gross and disgusting how people think they can fix others and treat other sexuality like a disease that needs to be cured. Yes, and the most,
Yes.
I think, an overlooked thing about being asexual is that medical doctors still do it to you.
Yeah.
You know, you don't go to a doctor and be like, oh man, I'm a guy who likes guys, and have them respond like, I've never heard of that. Are you okay? Do you want some treatment? Like, but if you're asexual, that stuff can happen. You can be like, oh, like, I don't ever have sex. Like, that's like, as a sexual, like, obviously asexual.
I've had this conversation with my doctor. He didn't go the whole like, oh, we need to treat this, but he was very confused.
Yeah, they're just like, it's like, does not compute, doesn't know what to do. Like, why aren't our doctors educated on, like, sexuality? Because, like, it affects sexual health. Like, it's important. Yeah. and then you go to Pride sometimes, and people are like, oh yeah, you're allowed here, asexuals, if as long as you know, like, you recognize that your struggles aren't like real. like there's such like a wink nudge of it. But I'll tell you what, like, asexuals, praise be, but asexuals have worse mental health outcomes than gay people now. like there you go, we're winning, we deserve help.
We won.
Yeah,
We're more discriminated against them.
being accepted for who you are is actually really important.
It really is.
And I
That's another
realize
thing.
how much I deny like my own existence, because like probably because I spent like most of my life pretending to be someone I'm not, and like gaslighting myself to the point where it's like I have a cold and I'm like, I don't know if I actually have a cold. Like, yeah.
That's like another thing that I think a lot of straight and cis people don't understand about, like,
He's sleeping
being
on my
gay.
ADHD book.
He's got pay attention to him. Not you dang.
Sorry, what don't they understand about being gay?
Because I've had conversations with like straight people where I talk about how like I was afraid to like come out to my dad for being gay and stuff, and they were like, well, who cares, just don't tell him. And I'm like, it's like, it's important, it's like I don't want to lie to my family.
Oh yeah, there was an Am I the A-hole, and it was about someone who had hid from his dad that he got married to
Right.
another man, and everyone was like, wow, that was really bad of you. Like, just imagine if it was a woman. Like, that'd be like super bad. Like, you have a relationship with your dad, he deserves to know this about you. And I'm like, screw off. Because it was also like, if he's never given you any reason to believe he's homophobic, why would you be scared? And the answer is,
You never know.
you never know. Like, you need positive affirmation. Like, if you're like, this is what being an ally is. Like, this is an important part of being an ally, is to shout from the rooftops. Okay, but not like stepping on people's toes, obviously. But shout from the rooftops that you are a safe person, because subtle messages, like, gays are looking for those. They're like, is this person safe? Can I be myself around them? Because if we haven't been discriminated against somehow, or like we haven't been disowned by families and friends before, we've seen it happen to other people. Like, we know what can happen.
Yeah.
Like, you live in a world that only a few years ago didn't allow like gay people to marry. Like, like, not even, sorry, world, in America, just like in the rest of the world, like even more so. Like, it's not all clear across the board being gay is okay. We haven't reached that,
Exactly.
no matter what some people say. Like, it's still scary, and like, you never know, and you need the positive affirmation. And it's your parent. Like, you don't want to lose your parents. Like, that is a fear like you can't understand unless you like are gay. Like, you're hiding this, you have the choice of like the possibility that your family hates you forever, or you can hide who you are. And either, like, it's so like uncomfortable. Yeah, they don't understand the gay experience. Exactly.
Exactly.
The motivations between the situations would be entirely different. And I'm gonna be controversial. If you are so scared to tell your dad that you got married and you are a straight couple, I think that's also valid, because your parent raised you, and there is a reason why you feel this way.
Totally.
And it came down to probably them. You know, if your kid is scared to tell you that they married someone, like, okay, the only situation where this is good, where where it would be bad, but it's still not the a-hole, would be like if you didn't want to tell your parents because your partner's kind of sketch and you don't want your parents like stopping you and like but you're not the a-hole, you're just being abused. That's abuse. Like you're an abuse victim.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
You're being hurt.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's either your parents have created a toxic environment in which you don't feel safe revealing. Yeah, I mean, in both situations, your parents have created an environment where you don't feel safe telling them about a very large part of your life, and that's not your fault.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just realized I had the music up really loud.
Oh.
I hope we're audible.
Ba-ba-da-bop.
But yeah, no, totally. It's a failing on the parent if their kid can't tell them
Yeah.
big important things about themselves.
This is the progress I'm making in therapy, guys.
Aw.
I recently determined that my therapist probably wouldn't punch me if I met them in person.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
After he sent me to the hospital, I was like, okay, he cares about my physical health. He probably wouldn't hit me. It was a
Oh.
revelation.
Oh,
Oh,
oh no.
oh.
Protect him.
He's small. I've never really been hit either. I don't know why. I feel these. That's why I feel like I view like reading the ADHD of like perceiving things very intensely. Yeah, like I think I do. Because like people like are like really short and kind of angry with me, and I'm like, they yelled at me.
That was interesting when you're like, because I'm like, they're not gonna yell at you, and you're like, they did. I'm like, what?
Who yelled at me?
No, just when you described like someone being like kind of short-tempered with you,
Yeah,
like snapping at you, but not like yelling. And you're like, they yelled at me.
they yelled at me. That's what it was.
Yes. I'm like,
I mean, I've been yelled at before, but
Yeah.
like, yeah. It's just like the only way to describe how painful it is, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because people don't understand like how you can quite kindly destroy a person.
yes.
Relationship advice is wild.
Like the subreddit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Husband won't talk to me at all. What are you okaying about?
Oh, I was just thinking the relationship threads that always they're horrible, but it always makes me laugh a little bit. Where it's like someone who's like, my boyfriend just like I don't know tried to murder me. Like should I break up with him?
That's literally it sometimes.
It's like, yes. What is very telling about like an abusive relationship is when they're like, I tried to break up with him, but he wouldn't let me. It's like,
No, you broke up with him?
no, you broke up with
You
him.
broke up with
You're
him.
broken up with him right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it's like, oh my god, what a horrible, terrible person.
You can't just be like, no, we're not broken up.
You can't do that. Someone breaks up with you, it is non-negotiable.
You say that, Charlie, but like I read an I read relationship advice where it was, so my boyfriend strangled me when we were having like sex, and I didn't want him to do that. Should I break up with him?
There
And-
was another one where it's like,
Yeah.
where it's like I can't remember if it was husband or boyfriend, but he like locked her in the basement after like choking her.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, run.
Yeah. Yeah. Police.
I don't know who
Oh
you
my
are.
god,
but
this
I
one
like
makes
this
me
show.
sad. Dating has made me realize I'm not desirable at all.
So sad.
Like, I feel bad for guys
Oh, for
that
sure.
feel like that. Like, there's obviously something going on. Like, we need more, like, positivity for guys, but we also need,
yeah.
like, more education
Yeah.
so that. And we're starting, it feels like.
We're getting there.
More people understand consent,
Yeah.
at least in nice circles.
Yeah.
Bones going through my Reddit, like.
Broke up, nah, fam, but nah. I know. I feel like
Oh my god, you know what the cishets are always doing?
what?
Lying about the biology of their kids. They're always like, I'm gonna protect my child by not telling them that their actual father is someone else
Oh, yeah.
because they don't need to know. And it'll only cause trouble. And like as a gay, no, that's like not what you do. Like anytime you have a messed up story that led to the creation of a kid, you tell that story early and age appropriate. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a therapist involved if you have to too. Like you need to normalize it early on so that it doesn't become a trauma later.
Yeah. So they don't find out
Like-
when they're 20 that
Like don't
they're
roll the
adopted.
dice and see yeah.
Yeah.
Don't roll the dice and be like, maybe they'll never know, because they're gonna know. Like 23andMe exists. Like
Yeah, exactly.
please don't tell kids their birth was bad late. Yeah, for real.
Exactly.
Yeah, because usually like what happens in those situations is you really like disrupt them, because like imagine like you have a kid and his biological father is like actually someone else than the guy raising him, and like you tell him like when he's 10 that like that's not really your dad. Like what's the kid gonna think? They're gonna be like, oh my god, I don't have a dad, like what if they don't love me, blah blah blah. As opposed to like you start when they're a baby, before they even have language, is actually what you're supposed to do. Just so you start to normalize it too for yourself, and you're like, we love you no matter what. Like another guy is like, you do that talk. You're like,
Yeah.
he's not your biological dad, but like he's your dad and he loves you no matter what, and you continue that forever. And because they've always heard it, they're like, yeah, I don't care, like stop bringing this up, mom. Like yeah. Medical history can be sought out if the parents never tell you about it. Yeah, that too.
Yep.
There's so much of that. Oh, by the way, your mom lied about birth control. Okay, cool, fine, great. Oh yeah. Yeah, that stuff's hard. It's like TV drama rationality to keep something that shouldn't be a secret from your kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a selfish thing, honestly. It's a selfish thing on behalf of like some parents, like especially in adoption cases, right? Where you're like, I'll just not tell them they were adopted and just avoid that conversation. Or avoid dealing with my own trauma surrounding my infertility. That's the one.
Yeah.
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 Where that one feels like more common in the past, but it's like, I can't have a child, I'm gonna adopt, and I'm gonna tell them that they're like my biological child, and no one has to know. Or like you get a surrogate and no one ever has to know. It's fine. But yeah, kids need the age appropriate story of their creation.
Yes.
And as a gay, because you have so many freaking hoops to jump through, like you're already prepared for all of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Don't don't even get me started on the homophobic parents who say it's like age inappropriate to tell little kids about like
Oh
gay
my
couples
God.
and trans people and
Oh my god.
piss.
Well, I don't want my kids learning about straight people. It's not natural.
Mm-mm.
One of my pet peeves is when self-righteous frickin' heteros be like, you need us to create you. It's like, bitch, no. Trans people exist and gays can do a thing called sperm donation. They're like, it's like you don't even know anything about gay people because like, oh my god, yeah, you need sperm and egg, but you can get sperm from your friend. Just get a pal, put it in a cup, and go to town. Like, and no hetero business happens at all.
That's true. Didn't they?
We don't need you.
I remember them talking about how if they were ever gonna send like a space colony out to say like colonize Mars or something, you could send like
People with uteruses.
people with uteruses and a bunch of like frozen genetic material, and you could start the colony. You don't need. That's all you need.
We're better than them too. The audacity where they're like, we need you. No, we don't. Because we can make kids on our own with our friends, and we're not gonna do it accidentally for the most part, aside from, you know, like when the lock and key matches up with like trans people in the mix. But like, we don't need you. And there'll be significantly less of that. Also, we're all educated and sex positive and amazing. So, like, yeah,
Exactly.
screw you, heteros. And if you're a gay and you're somehow siding with them like a traitor, like, you're not invited to my to my gay reality.
Are you gonna say Mars?
Yeah, let's
You're
make
not
Mars.
invited to Mars.
Mars is gonna be gay only.
Mars is gay.
We're-
Pass it on. Oh my god.
My homophobic grandma got my clearly LGBT shirt, and she has no idea.
Amazing.
Oh my god. I said the reverse of that, where it was like, we should have a country just for gays. Like, where do you think we come from? Oh my god. But that's kind of like the hardest part about being gay. Is that you can be born into a family of like it. I guess a similar thing happens with like disability, but it's one of those ones where you're like, you're just a marginalized person who springs up within like,
Yeah.
yeah. And like, that's why like, and it's just, heads don't get this. Like, that's why there's like there's gay culture in history, and you can feel very connected and create like these weird sort of like family ties. And like, what I've been looking at is like, just, like, the community trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the shared trauma, cause like it's like looking at like 2021 and seeing that it had the most anti-LGBT bills passed ever, and not passed but like made or whatever. Most of them like didn't go through, but like it's 2021. 2021's not even like that far in. Like it was like only a couple months in, and like the most bills ever had been like put forth or whatever. I don't understand bills all that real good, but like that shit sucks.
Yeah.
And the reason it even happened wasn't because those bills would pass. It was just to hurt people, and it was so targeted on like. It was so targeted on like kids. Like, it was all on trans kids too.
Mm-hmm.
most of it. It was like, deny trans kids from doing sports, deny trans kids from doing this. Blah, blah, blah. No puberty blockers.
The closest they have is when their team loses the footy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's hard to explain that. Yeah. Discrimination and microaggressions. Oh my god, describing microaggressions is so hard.
It feels like one of those things that needs to be like rebranded.
But it doesn't, because it's what it is.
It
Like
is.
microaggression is the perfect word for
It
it.
really is.
You just need to fight whenever your non-understanding cis friend has a sunburn, make sure to flick it and be like, that's a microaggression. Because if you weren't sunburned, that wouldn't have hurt. Like,
Exactly.
yeah. Now imagine that like 50 times a day.
Hmm.
Stop misgendering me, John.
Turns out being in danger for centuries tends to make a community of people a lot more tight-knit and protective of their history.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's like what's can be hard about like being gay is because you can be kept from your history,
Yeah.
and even unintentionally too, right? Like because your parents don't necessarily understand it. Yeah.
Mhm.
If you're a gay kid with like gay parents, you pogging out lotto max. do. Well, I was excited when I hear about a horrible couple that are gay on relationship advice, though. I don't know why. I was like, oh, representation.
Oh my god.
I met transphobic gay parents. Yeah. Well, if you have trans parents, they're probably also transphobic because trans people are great at being transphobic.
Then.
Trans people, like, oh, you can perfect it because you get it all thrown at you and then you like throw it back. It's like a dog that got covered in crap and then it walks into the living room and shakes it all off. There's a lot of gay history people aren't taught. Abraham Lincoln was bi. No one talks about it. Well, yeah,
Any
they
historical figure that
yeah.
was clearly gay. They're like, they just had a really good friend.
Yeah, straight wash that stuff.
Yeah.
I like the YouTube channel I'm from Driftwood. It has a lot of like queer and LGBT people, I guess LGBTQ people, like talking about their stories. And there are all sorts of different ages and backgrounds, and I find it really interesting.
It was really just lovely to see like an old gay.
Oh my god, when you meet like a gay who's like an ancient gay, and they're like an old lady or an old dude or like an old non-binary, oh my god, pog. It's like so cool to listen to.
Right? It's amazing. It's just because I feel like the narrative is really that like being gay and trans is so new when it's not.
Yeah.
And so it's really lovely to see someone who's like in their 70s talk about like being gay or being trans.
Yep. Ancient gay. Yes.
I love the story about was it the military? Yeah, it was like the military in the United States. I believe it was like the 50s or around there, where they were trying to find gay people in the military and like get rid of them. And so there was like they kept wondering, like they kept hearing the same name of like Dorothy over and over again. So they thought like, oh, there's this one Dorothy person who's like running this whole thing. We have to find them. Turns out Dorothy was just like slang for being gay because the Wizard of Oz was like an anthem for gays back in the day.
I want to be an ancient witch gay on a hill, and children dare each other to seek my wisdom.
Yes.
Learning about like early trans history is so cool.
For real.
Yeah, and it's also hard because like the history we do get is usually like all of like, if any, okay, you get like the really traumatic stuff,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of like the positive history. It's either completely washed to be 100% positive, or it's just trauma after trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah. People really want to act like this stuff hasn't been around forever.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with ADHD. It's been around since 1902.
What?
Yeah. It's gotten different names throughout the years. But
They had a definition of it?
the nucleus, the first thought of like, okay, maybe, because it came like I'm paraphrasing and don't quote me ever, but the doctor who was looking into it was looking into how like some people like would have like damage to the brain and behave in similar ways to these like kids, you know, who would not be able to like impulse control and all the ADHD stuff. And that was like the first time it was like hypothesized that like, maybe it's some sort of like brain disorder and not just like a flaw,
A moral failure.
like a failure of the parents.
I see.
ADHD didn't exist before 1902. They all spread it up. Yeah, exactly. 100%. But, like, the fact that it's been studied since 1902, like, really gets down to the nitty-gritties of how it's not just out of nowhere. It's just continued to expand and have easier diagnostics and all that stuff.
Yes, yes.
Also, like, there is some theory that, like, as the world's become more, like, the way it is, like, people with ADHD aren't able to function as well. Like, in, like, farm times probably was easier, as opposed to now where everything is very based on executive functions and large task management in order to survive in the world.
Yes.
And things like the internet being very distracting.
Oh my god. For real.
Like that's another theory.
Welcome to the internet.
There's a Romanian folktale that is kind of trans. The main character has a sex change at the end. I'm considering making a comic based on it that is more explicitly trans, but I suck at writing. Well, you only get better at writing by writing, so I say you do it. Have fun.
That sounds amazing.
All of you guys who come in here and say you suck at writing, there's only one way to fix it. You freaking write.
Hey, that sounds like a distorted thought.
Yeah, that does. I suck at writing?
Let's see, which distorted thought is it? Thought type. Could it be
What is it?
generalization?
Oh?
Labeling?
Black and white
Black
thinking?
and white thinking? Not Bo's calling me out.
It's all or nothing. Same with art. The only way to get better at drawing is to draw. Exactly.
I hate to tell you.
I also hate to tell you this, but there's no objective measure of art. And people who tell you otherwise are just bitter.
I get so frustrated with that. When
The only bad art is problematic art.
Yes.
And even then, it's debatable, but mostly if it's offensive and harmful
Yeah,
art that does harm, that's the only way you can be a bad writer.
totally.
Yeah, that's it. You only suck at writing if you're writing The Ranch,
Yes.
but not even like if The Ranch was satire, it'd be amazing. Quick question: I've been debating between getting an iPad and a laptop. I have Clip Studio, but would I get Procreate if it's worth it? What are your thoughts? My thought would be you're gonna need a tablet if you have a laptop.
True.
It depends, right? Like it's what do you like? Ursula got an iPad and she does so much more art because it's
It's
way easier.
super portable. Procreate's really affordable. It's like $15, I think.
Yeah.
Canadian.
Yep.
Yeah, it's super portable. There's a lot you can do on an iPad that you can do on a laptop. There's limitations because laptops, especially if you're going with like a Windows or something, you can, there's other things you can do with it.
Honestly, the real answer is between a desktop and an iPad.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna have like a setup for drawing, like it's nicer to have your Huion all mounted and stuff.
Totally.
And yeah.
But iPad is just so good. I can lay in bed and draw. It's kind of become like a sketchbook to me, as well as like being able to do finished pieces on.
I like writing on a laptop better, but
Yeah.
drawing, because like you don't have the like even when you get those weird like
It's a little keyboard.
the keyboards, like you can't. It's not rigid enough for me.
Mm. So yeah, I'd say an iPad is really worth
iPads
it,
are also
but-
good because you can sometimes get them for free on a phone plan.
Totally.
And then you can do like a payment plan on them, and it's nice. Ergonomics, don't kill your wrist. I use my iPad more because it's just so small and portable and manageable. But I also will get a computer if working on something bigger. Yeah. There's stuff a computer can do. Like the ideal situation you have both, but I think for like a beginner artist, like an iPad is such a good starting point.
For real.
They're a lot cheaper too,
Mm,
right? Like a good iPad.
yeah.
Well, I guess like you can get a cheap laptop.
Yeah, true.
Also, like, well, I guess if you want a good, you want a laptop, but you'd also need a drawing tablet, right?
Yeah.
And a good drawing tablet would start to run you.
True, because a pretty good one would be like a couple $100, and then if you want like a display one, that's like 500 at the least.
Yeah. Animating a computer is much easier.
Mm. Yeah, if you need a lot of like processing power for like animating or like gaming,
Video editing.
video editing, I would recommend like a desktop computer.
And if you want to stream, you need a computer.
Yes.
But I'm done with streaming, so let's stop.
Okay, forever.
That was my segue. We're at the end of
All right.
our day.
Please make sure to subscribe, to like the video,
Eat your vegetables.
eat your vegetables, give people
Tell someone in your life who you love that you love them.
yes,
And
be kind to yourself.
stop your cognitive distortions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're a bad person.
No. Rude. Okay, goodbye. Love you all.